Welcome to the No BS Sales School podcast. I'm your host, Walker McKay. I want to talk about something today that's maybe kind of painful, but it's the freaking truth. And I'm going to show you something, talk you through something that once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. And it'll probably piss you off. And maybe, just maybe, you'll say, I got to fix that. I want you to picture the last deal that you went after, the last prospect that you met with, that you had great feelings about. And it was a deal you cared about, right? One that mattered. And you went after it and you were pretty sure you were going to get it. I mean, it felt good. You were kind of certain. You might have given it a 75% or higher mark on your Salesforce or whatever. By the way, those marks are bullshit. But you put that percentage in there and you feel good about this. I mean, the prospect was, y'all got along, you had things in common, everything felt great. And then it just died. It went nowhere. Maybe they even ghosted you. Can you think of one? I bet you can. If you're selling at all, you've probably experienced that before. And that feeling sucks. So think back about it. How about this? Probably you reached out to them. Maybe you knew them, right? And you called and you said, hey, I want to talk to you about something. Or maybe they called you and said, hey, we're curious about this. And so you go over to meet with them. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You go meet with them, invite them to come meet with you. You talk about what's going on, right? You have a conversation. You're kind of educating them about what you do and what they need to think about. And then they ask you some questions and you're answering them and they're smiling with you and they're jiving with you and it's great. And they're giving you all positive buying signals, as people call them. There's no fucking buying signal, by the way. Only buying signal is somebody writing you a check. Now, back to the real story. So you're giving them information they want to ask. Things seem to be going very well. You're gelling, you're vibing, everything's good. And then they ask you to put it in writing. So you put it in writing. Right? You create a proposal, something, make it beautiful, put it inside your folder, whatever. Put together a pricing thing. And this can take anywhere from, some of you, it takes 2 to 3 minutes. Some of you, it takes 30 to 45 minutes. Others of you, it can take a couple of fucking days to put together the information the buyer needs so that you can show you know what you're doing. And maybe you go, if you're smart, right, you go deliver it to them. You don't just freaking email it off. But you go deliver it to them and you talk it through and you show them all the things that you're going to do and how this would work and why it's so good. And they're nodding their head and they're telling you, man, this really looks great. Really appreciate what you've done here. This hard work is amazing. I mean, really like the way you're thinking about my issue here. This is great for me. And you're thinking, hell yes. These guys appreciate me. They're right in my sweet spot. This is awesome. I've got one. Got another one, maybe. Hell yeah. And then they say, you know what? This is a big decision. Big decision. And my partner's out of town. And so I really shouldn't make this until he's here. How about call me back in a week? He'll be back by then. We'll have time to discuss this. It'll be great. Or maybe they say, you know what? This is a big decision. I need to think about it. Or, I forgot to mention this. We've got 2 or 3 other people coming over here and they're going to show us, kind of other things. But I mean, shit, apples to apples, all things being equal. Can't see any reason why we wouldn't, give you guys a really good shot. Right? So you hear that and you think, okay, that's normal. That makes sense. I'll do that. And so then you go to call them back. And you call one time and you get their voicemail. Heart dies a little bit. And you call a second time and you got their voicemail. And you call a third time and you get their voicemail. And you're like, what in the hell happened? Those bastards, right? You're mad. That ever happened to you? Some version thereof. Maybe you figure out you got shopped. Maybe you figure out that they decided not to do anything, or they just took your information and did it themselves, or gave it to the person they're working with now and they did what you thought. Damn it. Well, if that's ever happened to you, what I want you to know is you have fallen victim to the prospects process. You've gotten burned by it. And the awful, cynical part about this is you use that same process when you buy stuff, but you wouldn't ever believe that somebody would do this to you. So let me show you what the prospects process is. I don't call it the buyer's process because sometimes they don't buy. They're prospects. They have not yet spent money with you, or at least not on this deal or this transaction. So they've got 4 steps. Step number 1 is typically in the first conversation, they'll ask you about price. Kind of curious, how much would this be in a roundabout range? Give me an idea. So typically we're like, okay, it's this or roughly this. And if you make it through step 1, if they don't go, what? Hang up the phone, get to step 2, where they invite you in, right? And they're nice. And you educate them and you give them information and they ask you a bunch of questions and they seem very interested. And they ask you about how you might handle this and how you might handle that and what would this look like? And you're like, hell yes, right? This is good. And then they do, right? They say, hey, can you put that in writing? So you do. And you come back and you go over it with them. Step number 1 is they ask about price, right? Step number 2 is that they get free consulting. How many years you've been in your business? How many months? How many years? I guarantee you, you are much more of an expert in what you do than your prospect is. And they're asking you questions, they're being really nice, and you just open up because finally somebody cares. Finally, somebody recognizes your brilliance. Finally, you can use all that product knowledge you've studied so hard to learn. So you do that, and you give them everything they want, you feel good about it. Maybe they even call you a couple days later and say, hey, what about this? What about that? Which again, you take as continued interest. This is cool. And then they say, you know what? Looks great. Appreciate you very much. Why don't you call me in a week? My partner's traveling. I need to think about it. I need to sleep on it, right? Just talked about this. Step 3 is say nice things and get rid of you. Say nice things and get rid of you. Step number 1, ask about price. Step number 2, get free consulting. Step number 3, say nice things and get rid of you. See, we're prepared to overcome objections, but people don't want to give you objections anymore. They don't want to wrestle with you. They've done a lot of research on the freaking interwebs. Thank you, Al Gore. All right, they've already done a lot of the research. They've asked other people. Do you think they know anybody else who says they do what you do? You're damn right they do. They probably have somebody doing it for them now in a lot of situations. Do you think it ever happens that they take your proposal, which you've gladly given and made very pretty and looks really nice, given it to their guy and said, hey, John, I had this really smart person come by and see me the other day. They're with so-and-so company, and they said they could do this. Can you do that? And what do you think John, the incumbent, says? Oh, yeah, I could do that. And then the prospect says, well, they said they could do it for $8. And you said 10. Can you do it for $8? I know that's less we're paying you now, but because of our relationship, I'd rather work with you. Can you help me out? Can you help me out? And what does the incumbent do? They don't want to lose the relationship that they just got screwed on. So they agreed to do that for $8. Now, sometimes your prospect go get 3 prices. Maybe they go to the incumbent, the one they're working with now. Maybe they go get 3. Let's pretend they get 3 prices. I'm making this up. One's $12, one's $10, one's $8. Some people, just by either the nature of their business or who they are, they got to buy the cheapest, right? They're going to pick the $8 one no matter what. Those are your worst customers. Your worst clients, your worst customers, the ones that pick you because you're cheap and only because you're cheap. You don't want those. I'll tell you why in a minute. The other folks will say there's probably something wrong with the cheapest one. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to do that. But I'm also the $12 one. That guy's probably screwing me. I don't want to freaking make somebody rich off this deal. So I'm probably going to pick the $10 person. But maybe I can negotiate the $12 person down closer to 10. If I can get them close enough to 10, I'm going to pick the higher one. Now think about this for a minute. Is that the best way to pick somebody who does what you do? If they can negotiate the top guy down to the middle guy? Hell no, that's not the right way. Buyers make dumb decisions all the time that they think are in their best interests, right? I firmly believe people don't know how to buy what it is that we sell. So let's pretend they go through that process and they pick somebody else. So meanwhile, you're doing exactly what you were told. You call them back in a week. They see you calling and they go, oh, look, it's John. I'm not going to buy from him. He's such a nice guy. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to wrestle with him. So I'm going to send him a voicemail. So you get a voicemail. You leave your message. Hey, this is John. Just calling to check in. Really excited to do business with you. Want to know if we can come out and pick up our check and contract. Goes to voicemail. They don't have to listen to that shit. So you call back a couple days later. They see you calling again. They go, damn, it's John calling again. Oh, God, I don't want to talk to him. I'm not going to buy from him. I've already moved on. Send him a voicemail. You hear voicemail come up and you're like, damn, your heart dies a little bit. And you leave another nice message. Hey, just want to let you know, looking forward to hearing from you. I know you must be busy right now, but how about get back to me? We need to get you in the schedule. Heart dies a little bit more. No call back. And then you call a third time a couple days later. And they see you calling a third time. They go, oh my God, why doesn't this jerk get a clue? I'm not going to buy. I'm not buying from him. Step number 1 of their process is ask about price. Step number 2, get free consulting. Step number 3, say nice things and get rid of you. Step number 4, disappear. So think about this. Have you ever done that to somebody else? Have you ever done that? I bet you have. In some form or fashion, you're damn right you've done that to somebody else. Why can't we see that it happens to us? Why are we different? Well, here's the thing. That's what you have to be, is different. If you don't want to get treated like that, then you need to do things differently than everybody else in your business, and certainly differently than you've been doing it in the past. Over here at No BS Sales School, we teach a system that levels the playing field. It gives you 50% control of a sales call so that you have just as much right and authority as they do, and you won't get treated like that. You can figure out way up front, maybe in the first 5 minutes of the first sales call, if that's the way it's going to go, how long do you want to play that game? Me? 0. I want to know right now. Take the BS out of your buyers, your prospects process. Work on your own. That's how you make a lot of money in the sales business. That's how you make a lot of money and take care of your family. And you'll have a hell of a lot more fun. You'll have better professional relationships with the people you do business with. I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. You want to know more about that? You want to know more about how maybe you could get help? Call me, 803-917-2817. And I know what you're thinking, Walker, that would never work in our business. We have to do exactly what that is because nobody will let us do that. Well, if that's what you believe and you want to stay that way, you don't need to call. Your competitors will, though. Thank you. Have a great day. Go get them.